Hello, hello. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Hi, Diana. I see you're here. Hello. There we go. Now I see everybody. Good morning. At least it's still morning here. It's 10 o'clock, and I am back and I am still trying to get in the swing of things. Uh, Josh and I had a wonderful trip. It was really nice. We got a lot of great sunshine. You can see I did a good job. I did not get sunburned once. Very good. I have to be really careful with the amounts of sun that I get at any one time. I had a sunstroke when I was a kid, and I have never been able to handle sun exposure after then well. So I just take it little bits at a time and get a little bit of a slow tan over the summer and call it good. So anyways, I was reactivating my tan. How's that? Which is a tan is, the North Idaho white girl version of a tan is all I can say. So hello. Hello, hello. Good to be back. Good to see you guys. I know I've been getting lots of requests for babies. You can see baby is getting big. My pregnancy app just told me that the baby is the size of an eggplant, whatever that means. So we're getting there. I'm just now into my third trimester. And I gotta say, I am feeling this one a lot more than I have my earlier ones. I guess I can feel my age. I'm definitely older, um, and hopefully wiser, but I don't know that that comes into some of this aside from the fact that I give myself more breaks. So anyways, we are getting there and starting to just get a lot of very, very strong kicks and movements and all of that. So anyways, we're just working through the aches and pains of a third trimester and a pregnancy in my 40s. And we'll just keep walking through that one. Josh and I went down to Mexico. Let's see. Donico is asking, we have an area down in Baja that we really like to go to. It's pretty quick and easy to get down there. It's very, very friendly, and it's a very low key. It's not like in Cabo. It's north of Cabo, but it's not in Cabo. So it's not like Party City or anything like that. It's just really, really very relaxed, which is kind of our speed, is relaxed. Big beaches, friendly people, good food, and not super high end or pretentious or, we're pretty happy with like flip flops and shorts and our toes in the sand and calling it good there and some tacos. So I guess we're pretty relaxed when we go on vacation. So that was really nice. The kids held down the fort here, which was amazing because they got feet of snow literally while we were gone, and they were having to deal with all the animals and plowing and keeping the driveway clear and all those different things. So that is just absolutely amazing. And they just did a great job. So it was a real blessing for us that they were able to take care of everything. So very nice. It's also a real testament to all the work we've been doing on our infrastructure the last couple of years. All the animals were literally able to be fed right out of the same area. So they were noting how easy it was, how just, there's been years where we've had to like truck hay bales out to the beef cows out in the pasture and use hatchets to break up the ice in the waters. And it's a good testimony to the fact that every little bit of work that you put into your infrastructure and into your systems pays dividends for years to come. And so we're really appreciative to see that, but we definitely put it under the test with us being gone and the kids taking care of everything. So hello, everybody. Hello. Oh my goodness, JJ is under tornado warning right now. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Is that stressful? I have never lived anywhere with tornadoes. And that sounds just like the most stressful thing possible, honestly. Um, growing up in Southern California, earthquakes were never a big deal to me. They never made me nervous. I often enjoyed them, but um, I can't imagine that being the case for a tornado. So, anyways, I hope everything is okay down there. Yes, it's stressful. I would imagine that's hard. Okay, so today let me finish that thought. Our prayers are with you today. Okay, so hopefully you can stay connected, but hopefully you get through your day just fine. Um, that would be even better. Okay, Beverly says, "Hi, very excited here. Roadkill venison for the winter." Oh, good. You got a good roadkill. We have done that so many times. In fact, this year we were able to find one. We were driving. It was in hunting season, and we were driving down our road, and it was a snowy, cold morning. And I honestly, I believe that the deer ran into somebody's car, which happens up here, kind of broadsided it and broke its own neck. Because by the time we found it, it was still warm and it was a 7-degree morning. So, it was going to cool off quickly. And it didn't have much more than a broken neck. And so the kids grabbed it. They were real happy. My oldest son has made a deal with a friend who tans hides. And for every 3 hides that he gives him, he gets back 1 tanned. And so he's been talking to all of his friends who hunt and say, "Hey, if you're not going to do anything with that hide, can I have it?" And so yeah, they're doing um, that. So he was very excited to get that hide, and then we got some great meat off of that one too. So good for you, Beverly! Yay! Callie says, "I've grown up with the tornadoes. You get used to it. It's all about what you're familiar with." I believe that that's absolutely true. Is you get used to those things, and you probably find ways to make it not so stressful as it sounds like it would be. Beverly also had a broken neck. Yeah, on that deer. That is great. That's a great way to get meat. In some places, that is not legal. In Idaho, I know it is. Um, and yeah, in a lot of places, a lot of people do it anyways because it'd be a shame to let all that meat go to waste. So all right. Well, it looks like we've got quite a few people here today. So we'll get started and start talking about the main topic. If you have any questions for me or anything, go ahead and put them in there and I will get to them before we wrap up today. I know this is busy season for a lot of us. And so even when I say we have quite a few people here, it's a lot smaller than it is as we get into the rest of the year when people have a little more time. But there's just so much stuff getting done right now. In fact, one of the things, I'm sorry, my phone's over here buzzing along. And one of the things is my oldest son is actually getting his wisdom teeth out right now. And so it's keeping us hopping, but he's about to turn 18. So we want to make sure he's got all of his dental work all up to date and taken care of, and just make sure he's kind of ready to move off into the world as he's not leaving right away. He's still finishing up his senior year here at home, homeschooling, and he's got a couple years of an apprenticeship that he'll be doing. It sounds like right here he's still waiting to confirm that he gets the position for an airplane mechanic that he'll have to do in as part of his goals towards becoming a missionary pilot. So he'll be around for a while, but we are trying to make sure he's kind of getting to that part of adulthood where he's starting to take over some of his own self-care and medical care. And so getting him through a few of these basics. Okay, so we are going to be talking about goal setting for this year. And I know we're starting to hear probably a lot about it. Usually it's right after Christmas that everybody really starts talking about goal setting for next year. And I want to just tell you right off the top that this is not probably the type of goal setting that you're going to hear about everywhere else. We're not talking about weight loss goals. We kind of encompass all of it. But really, instead, taking a look at the importance of goal setting in a very rough sort of way. And by that, what I mean is that for our homesteading journey, for our skills, for learning new skills, for upgrading systems, for making changes in our system, it's really easy to just let those things kind of happen naturally and maybe a little happenstance, maybe a little haphazard. We just, hey, wow, I just saw this thing on, soap making, and I decided I want to start soap making. That can be advantageous when you run into a great resource. Sometimes that happens, and it's great to be positioned to be able to take advantage of it. But we don't want to leave our learning and leave our growth in a year for those moments where something kind of flashy catches our eyes, right? We're going to have the most success if we move forward with a plan. And this is something that I have found to be true and has really, really helped Josh and I in our progression of what it is that we want to learn, where it is that we feel like we need to go, and to help us get there, because life gets busy. Life starts pulling us in all different directions, and it can be challenging to keep on track. Now, with all that said, pretty much every single year our plans get changed. They don't go according to plan in any way. So we like to use our plans and our goals as a rough pathway forward. It's a tool. It's not our boss. If you become too enslaved to the plan to where you can't be flexible and take advantage of great opportunities that come to you, it really does become a negative and not a positive. Some of you guys know, maybe you even live with people who are very rigid in their planning. And once it's on paper, once it's planned, it's like, we will not deviate no matter what, even if there's good reason. And that can be just as challenging and have just as negative effects as the opposite of not planning anything and just kind of floating along. So we want to make sure that any goals that we ever hold, any schedules we create, any budgets, any of those things, those are all tools to help us. And as soon as they're not helping us, we need to change them or let them go or redirect or something. We want to make sure that they're tools and that we are not becoming their slave, because those types of things are not good masters. We don't want to be beholden to them. So what are some of the things that I'm talking about? Well, Josh and I are doing our annual planning in the next week or two here for our personal side. And one of the things we do is we sit down and we involve the older kids with us at this point, all the teenagers. And we start talking about all of the projects that we're hoping to do around the homestead in the next year, a home or a homestead. Doesn't just have to be out on the property. Sometimes it's, switching around the drawers in the kitchen so they work more efficiently. Or this year, we're starting to talk about upgrading our wood cook stove. The oven in our wood cook stove is so small we can't even get our casserole pans in there, which has caused us problem after problem when we've needed it. And so we're talking about upgrading that to something that is a little bit larger size that's actually useful to our family, so we can do the majority of our cooking in it in the part of the year where we're actually using it already to heat that side of the house. So it's hot already. We might as well be using that instead of using the propane stove or the convection oven. And so, we have all these different types of projects that we sit down and we start listing. Maybe it's I really want project. We put them all on the board. We write them all down. My daughter has wanted horses for so many years, and here she is, 16, and just about to turn 17, and we're finally at a spot in the barn where we're going, okay, we could probably handle a horse for her. So that's going on the list. My younger daughter has decided she wants to milk goats, and she wants her own milk goats. So that's going on the list. We are upgrading some of our fuel supplies, including our propane. Um, when we moved into the house, it had this little like 25-gallon propane tank, and that's just not it's not very efficient for our family. We go through it a little too fast. And so we're, upgrading that and getting those systems in place to get a larger one and get kind of a spot where we have a large enough one that we can have a backup generator that's hooked up to it that runs into the house. So all of these types of things are going on the project list. And then Josh and I sit down and we have to consider time, budget, all the real things in life, all the practical things, and turn the wish list and the dream list into a reality list. And that becomes our order of operations for the year as it pertains to the homestead. Now, that's not to say some people, again, I guess I'm just saying we're pretty flexible with it. That's the direction we're heading. That's what we're planning on doing. But sometimes, most of the times, we get a little knocked off course, or we add an extra thing in, or, Carolyn finds a great deal on 500 bulbs that I have to have because I've got to get them in the garden because, of course we need bulbs. That's an excuse for anything. More plants, more flowers. So anyways, we do lay that out and we get it into a basic order. And we try to stick by that the best we can. But we know then what we're budgeting for. We know what we're trying to accomplish. We know time-wise what we're doing. So I think that is a great starting place. The benefit of this is working out these priorities with the people who are involved in your homestead before you're out on the ground. Well, any of you guys who are married know exactly what I'm talking about. It is very, very helpful if you have them worked out beforehand. You can sit down, you can list all the pros and the cons, you can all consider, what's going to affect the homestead the most or the household the most in a positive way. So it's really important to go ahead and get that hashed out and save yourself the year's worth of challenges of what are we going to do next. So that's a great way to go. The other thing that is really important to work on with goals is our skills, though, and things that we want to learn. This is one of those things. You guys are all here in the Homestead Kitchen membership, and so you're all focused on learning and bringing your skills up. But it's a really important thing to actually plan out what it is you're looking at learning this year. For me, on my skills, I'm still playing with the oil. I have to just go ahead and turn my seeds now. They're all dried down. I have to get them all off the sunflower seeds, off the sunflower heads, and get them all cleaned up. And then I'm going to be ready to actually turn those into oil. But I do want to figure out the best way to do it and set up systems and kind of things like that. So I'm still learning on that process. I'm continuing to learn on the meat curing side and putting up meat in a, let's say, off-grid manner, something that's not dependent on the freezer. We love our freezers. I don't plan on getting rid of our freezers anytime soon. However, we do have to recognize that there could be possibilities that in the future it's harder to get power the way it is now. And we can't just assume that it's going to be plentiful and cheap. New big announcements from the government on nuclear power not withholding. We'll wait and see that all pan out. So those are some of the things. Learning more about herbalism is always on my list. Treating more with herbs, and that's kind of a perennial study of mine, something that I will be studying the rest of my life. And Al Gosh, along with a lot of other things, I think the growing year round here is a big thing for us. We're being able to extend our season a little bit more. So Josh and I are hoping to play with some more, cold frames and maybe even hot houses. We're talking about actually building cold frames into the terrace garden wall, like the levels of the terrace garden, to be able to build them in so they're protected on multiple sides. So that's another area where we're just always looking at extending the garden and learning the skill in our area of extending that garden season, because I love eating fresh. I love my preserved food, but I love really eating fresh. As we wrap up the root cellar this year too, we're going to be starting to build that skill a little bit more of having a real root cellar and being able to have things like cured meats hanging in there, managing a root cellar to act as maybe a cheese cave, a ferment place. We're really just trying to work on the skill of getting things out of requiring any sort of energy input. So, anyways, those are some of the things that I'm looking at learning, and I really recommend laying them out for you guys also, laying out what you're looking at learning and then coming up with a plan on how to learn that. Maybe we have a class here in the homestead kitchen. I know a lot of people are actually building their homestead learning goals around the homestead kitchen classes that are available, since they're available to them. It's a good resource to have. So that's a great way to do it. A lot of people just work right through the different master classes. Um, Good news, we have a lot of fun master class ideas coming up over the next couple of years. I don't want to announce them too early, or at least I don't want to make any promises attached to them. But this year we are looking at releasing the gluten-free uh, version um, of the bread class. We have a lot of people who are having to go gluten-free, and so we are going to be doing the kind of the sister to the bread class for the gluten-free, because making gluten-free bread is really different, and goodies, not just bread. And we're talking yeasted bread and sourdough. We're talking all the stuff, and nutrient dense with whole grains, all that good stuff. So this year we're looking at that. By the end of the year, we should be doing challenges here in the membership for the household management, because that's going to be coming out, the new upgraded version of that. So we've got a lot of fun stuff going on. Josh is hoping to be doing a garden class here in the next year or two. So we have a lot of new pieces coming in for that. So that's exciting. Obviously, first we are getting through baby. That's step number one for us. But make sure that you're making a list of the things that are important to you, and not only important to you, but the things that you feel like are going to move the metric on your skills the most. What is going to affect your household in the biggest way if you learn? Honestly, if you're not bulk buying and storing food bulk, that's probably one of the most important places to start, in my opinion. Getting gardening, growing something so that you can start growing your food, maybe growing some livestock and butchering some livestock, being able to preserve the food. Those are all really important pieces that if you are able to add those skills this year, it's going to really, really move your family closer to a more resilient lifestyle. So those are kind of the things that I am really specifically looking at on a household side as a homeschooling mom. Um, I do similar things with each of the kids. I sit down, I look at their growth, their character growth, what I see from them, what I see their weaknesses as, and I create a goal list for helping to give them learning experiences to fill in some of those weaknesses. If somebody has a tendency to be a little sloppy, then we might do a little extra work on being very careful. We'll just spend the year being very consistent with that person, reminding them to, go back and do it better. Finish it all the way, give them some reminders beforehand. So I try to look at each person in the same way. Same thing with their education. Where are the holes? Where are they light? And go into those areas, and every year try to be filling in those areas for each of the children. So this can be taken to all different levels, all over your homestead. Maybe you're running a small business, you can do the same thing in that. Just some light improvement goals, more than, I want to say, like some really regimented plan of exactly what you need to be doing on what day and when. So that's the way I'm approaching goals, in a loose, larger kind of meta way, to start the year before we even get to the year. And then after that is where I start really looking at some of the daily applications of those things. We'll be talking a little bit more about that as we get into January. Again, recovering, going over some of finding your daily minimums, your daily operating, and how to make sure that you are keeping your household, your homestead running efficiently, and able to free up enough time, as much time as possible, from the daily running things, so that you have time to be able to focus on adding the skills or doing the projects or the other larger things. Okay, jump in here if you have any thoughts on this. And put them in the comments. Ooh, yes. I hope you will do a video or a blog post on your research on the cook stove. It's on our list. Yeah, well, like normal for Josh and I, the cook stove that we've fallen in love with is made in New Zealand and is not currently being imported to the United States. They think they're going to start up importation again. Importation? Is that the way you say that? Importing? Next year. And when you kind of get your heart set on one thing because you just see that it is the thing that works. This is one of those stoves that is made to, like, seriously work for a large family. And they have smaller versions of it, which are just like good old workhorses, and they look nice. They're not, some of them are so ugly, you guys. I think, couldn't you just design them a little bit, because we have to look at them all the time. So yeah, well, we'll keep you updated as to what that, I can't even tell you what the name of it is off the top of my head. Josh has been working with them and talking to them. But yeah, I love the one that I have now. I have a Waterford Stanley, an old Waterford Stanley, but honestly, it's falling apart. They don't make the parts anymore. You can't find them, and it's just too small for us, oven-wise, at least. But boy, that thing has heated really well. So yes, we will do that, and we will definitely keep you guys updated on whether or not that materializes this year. It's one of those things, we like that one enough that we might just hold out and wait until we can get what we want. Give us time to save up for it too. Callie says she can't wait to hear about the milk goat shenanigans. Yes, Callie, we have owned milk goats for 3 days before. That's it. For people who have owned pretty much every other animal in the world out there, farm animal, we just have not gotten along with milk goats. But I think we just underestimated their infrastructure needs. At that point, we'd had sheep and cows and all the poultry and everything. But goats just take an extra toll on things. So they didn't last more than about 3 days before we realized we may not be goat people. But my daughter is a goat person, and so therefore we are now goat people. So we're going to learn, but I'm sure you will get all sorts of great stories. JJ, this is why I nurse babies. She says, with so many hands, will you get to hold the babies? get to hold the baby before he's grown. I keep saying JJ, it's Robin. Sorry, I'm mixing you guys up. Um, with so many hands, we get to hold the baby before he's grown. Yeah. Only when I have to nurse him. That's why we don't do bottles in the house, so nobody can just wander away and not, yeah, and not give them back. Let's see. Yeah, Nikki, let's talk about the pantry challenge. So this is going to be um, this pantry challenge is gonna be based on using the staples that you have in order to make all the normal things. So we're gonna be making condiments, we're gonna be making spice blends, we're going to be getting convenience mixes on your shelves, and we're going to be refilling any of the meals, the pressure canned meals on your shelf that maybe you've started to run out of since the last pressure canning challenge. So this is kind of a filling your pantry with the homemade version of things. We will be talking about properly storing food, bulk foods, organizing pantries, different elements like that. I part of me is struggling a little bit with it because one side of me says we need to have inventory lists. You need to have what should be in your pantry. And the other side of me just keeps remembering the story of when my sister came, this was years ago, came to take care of me during a really difficult I got sick while I was really pregnant and having a difficult pregnancy. And so my sister came down for a few days to help take care of me, and then my mom came and took over from her. And when my mom came down, my sister said to her, "Mom, bring your own food because you will not know how to cook anything at Carolyn's house." And this is from my mom, who's a phenomenal home cook, and my sister, who is absolutely a great cook and very capable and very, it's not like she doesn't know her way around the kitchen. And it just that memory always reminds me, my pantry is not gonna look like your pantry, and it's not gonna look like somebody else's pantry, so I hesitate to give out, like, inventory lists. This is what you should have in your pantry, because really what you should have in your pantry is what you are going to use and what you cook with already. And if you're trying to make changes in your diet, bulk buying new things in your pantry is not the moment to do it. What if your family doesn't like it? What if you don't end up using it? You're out a lot of time, money, energy, all of that stuff. So yeah, we'll be making things and getting them on the shelves. The I don't have the document in front of me that has the whole layout, but we'll be doing a day of like condiments, a week of condiments, where you're going to be making the healthy version of a lot of different things from um, mustard to mayonnaise to ketchup to sriracha sauce. We're going to be getting those into our pantry. And the great thing is most condiments historically were fermented or cultured. And of course, as you guys know, if you've gone through some of the fermenting material here, is once you ferment them, they become relatively shelf stable. So it gives you a lot more flexibility. All of a sudden, that mayonnaise that you are, have to be so concerned about it getting back into the refrigerator really quickly, if it's fermented, you don't have that problem anymore. In fact, it gets better and more probiotic the longer you leave it out. It might get a little stronger flavor wise, but it also gets better. And so this is a great way to keep building that skill and making these small changes. Most of the time, most of the family can't even taste the changes that happen when it comes to a condiment, especially when you're taking them to, a fermented type of a condiment. So anyways, we're going to be doing that, which is great so that you can stop buying those at the grocery store and you can get more to that idea of bulk buying the basic ingredients and then turning those basic ingredients into all sorts of things that you want. We're going to be doing some mixes in a jar We're going to be doing seasoning mixes. We're making our own of a whole handful of different seasoning mixes. You get to choose. Will be pretty much the way the challenge is going to be working is that we're going to be spending a week at a time focused on one area. And so you get to choose how many of each of those things you want to make during that one given week. Maybe you want to make all the recipes and get them all on your shelf. Maybe you just want to make one thing that particular week and give it a try. And that's just fine. And then we'll be doing some mixes, getting some mixes on your shelf in jars. And then we will be doing a couple weeks of pressure canning or water bath canning, either meals or meal starters, so that we can refill all of those holes that are in your shelf. If you didn't join us for the pressure canning challenge, oh gee, how long ago was that now? Now I'm thinking about it and I'm thinking, wait, that wasn't just this fall. Was it the fall before? Okay, so maybe it was a while ago. So, I'll be taking you through every step of pressure canning and getting meals on your shelf there. We have some phenomenal, really good family favorite type meals that we'll be able to put into play for getting on your shelf. So those are the things we're going to be focused on. I will be teaching a little bit on properly storing foods in your pantry, bulk buying, bulk storing, rotation, different things like that. Okay. I'm very interested in how to make the extra time to keep building my skills. I found this year to be very difficult to make skill building happening. Yes, that can be really hard. All of a sudden, your life gets filled up with all the doing, and it's hard to keep learning, right? Because you're doing the doing part. So really, we'll be diving into that a bit in the Coffee with Carolyn's in the beginning of January when we're doing them. Obviously, you guys, I'm going to be taking some time off of Coffee with Carolyn. That probably won't be until the beginning of March, maybe the end of February if baby were to come early, or sometimes I just get done at the end of a pregnancy. And I'm like, I just want to hole up. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to see anybody. So I'm leaving myself a little bit of an out there. So we'll be breaking at some point for Coffee with Carolyn's. Josh will still be jumping into Java with Josh. But starting in January, we'll be talking through some of those basic things. Daryl, we installed the Waterford Stanley when we bought the house. And the reason was the house was originally set up. It has a oil burning furnace downstairs that is a combo wood burning furnace. But it was actually very inefficient for the house. So it puts it through a whole, central air unit into the house. It was really inefficient. And so when we decided, hey, let's just scrap that. We're not going to use that unless we're, going on vacation or something. We need to keep the house at a minimum temperature. So we decided to go ahead and go to wood heat, which is what we know and we prefer. We really like anyways, but direct wood heat. So we have in the living room area, we put an insert into the fireplace. It was literally a fireplace sitting there. So we put an insert into there, an airtight, and that did a phenomenal job for the whole front of the house. It really heated that really well. But the back of the house, including the kitchen and where we do school, the dining room, which is where we do school with the kids, so we're there all day between the kitchen and that room, was really not getting heat. And so we thought, great, let's put in the wood cook stove. And so we did get a used one locally that was a great start. It's done great for us for a couple of years, but it really was never the long-term answer. So we just needed to get settled and be able to, prioritize other budget items before we really got the one that's going to be the mainstay stove for the house. When you and Josh relocated to a new property, what methods did you use to keep going with your then present homestead, but still be ready to move? Um, uh, that is always an extremely hard question. And we have moved homestead to homestead multiple times. And it's challenging in that the answers are not always the same. Sometimes it makes more sense to sell off all the livestock and all the animals and to purchase new when you get settled where you're going to be. Sometimes, you're in a position where you can wrap up your garden season, get everything harvested, and then move in the off season before you have to start a garden on the other side. Sometimes those things aren't true, and you have to make hard decisions, and you have to leave behind a garden, or you have to leave behind, um, I don't we've had to make a lot of hard decisions about what got left and what got kept and what got moved. And unfortunately, it's different every single time and in every single circumstance. So, if you're moving somewhere that doesn't have animal setups, is it really in your best interest um, to bring your animals? If you're then immediately hitting the ground and scrambling, trying to get your animals set up, at least in a basic way. And the answer is just not always so, unfortunately. And I have to remind myself, I've gotten a little bit better about being patient and slowing down a little bit, that when you get things set up right at the beginning, when you're first at a new property, that's going to take you much, much further than if you hit the ground scrambling because you already have, elements that you can't house properly, you can't take care of properly. Then you're just slapping up things, you're just throwing things together in a temporary setup that may take a long time to work out of, because we all know things don't get done as quickly as we would like them to get done. So, in that way, I would really encourage you to take the deep breath. It's hard. It's hard for me every time, because if you're like me, you're feeling like, gee, I wanted all these systems up and running and productive like 3 years ago. I don't want to be going backwards right now. I don't want to lose elements. And yet, when you look at the big picture, you're going to get ahead faster if you step back and you take the time to just set it up correctly, and then repopulate with the livestock, repopulate the garden, do the things that you need to do that way. So I know that's not probably the answer everybody would like, but as far as our experience, it's better just to slow down. The things that I have dragged Josh through in a move, um, he drew the line at milking the cow on the side of the freeway. He just said no, he was not going to do that when I tried. I really tried. Like, please, could we move the cow cross country? Now, we have moved cows cross country. We just haven't done it when they're actively in milk, which is good. So, you just really need to step back and look at it and say, is this just me wanting more and feeling impatient? Or is this really in the long-term good? It's just not worth it to sacrifice your now sanity and your later productivity by being impatient. So, anyways, I wish I had a better answer for you. I would like somebody to tell me, oh, yes, you can pick up everything and move it all and keep it all running all at the same time so you don't go backwards. And in fact, you can learn about 3 new skills while you're doing it. But the reality is you will cause yourself a lot more problems than it's worth. Okay, freeze drying. Lori, I keep thinking about the freeze drying. The freeze dryers are so expensive. I don't want to assume that most people have a freeze dryer that they can work with. So I do want to keep my finger though on the pulse of when enough of you guys get a freeze dryer that a freeze drying challenge would be worth it, because I know a lot of people are getting them. Um, and I know a freeze drying challenge would be really helpful to a lot of people, but I guess I just have not felt ready yet. I haven't felt like the group as a whole is ready for that yet. Um, and I'm trying to figure out what to do about that, because I know the people that are ready would really like one. So I'm tempted to actually just to put some more videos out on freeze drying so that people have access to the information without doing a whole group challenge. But I'd love your guys' feedback on that. Okay. Yeah, I agree on this one. Once you have had the fermented condiments, there is no going back. Could you do a video or class on bulk buying, where to buy, how much you might need, how to store? I know you've talked about it before, but maybe something more in depth. Yeah, I will get that on the list. That might be a great pantry chat for Josh and I to do together. Um, yeah, I've done some of it, but you can go really deep on that. And again, some of the things are you have to be flexible because different households are going to be different, but there are some basic guidelines for how much you need per person, things like that. So, yeah, that would be a good one. Sorry, guys, I'm just catching up on reading the comments right now. We do not have brand new ones for, I'm sorry, let me read this. Will the recipes for the pressure canning challenge be new ones? Right now, we do not have new ones out there, but we do have a lot of really good ones to choose from the meals on the shelf. Have you done them all? Um, that would be great. Those are the ones I just go to over and over again. And so I guess because we have so many of them, those are the ones that I just make. So I didn't even think of getting new ones in there for the moment. Okay. Callie says, question. My oldest, almost 8 years old, loves being in the kitchen and helping and has done so for several years. My middle child has no interest in helping in the kitchen. And part two, but I want him to have those skills. What age would you make them learn kitchen skills? At about that age, I move them into a once a week project where they have to. Usually it's either starting with muffins, just a really simple breakfast muffin, or it's starting with pizza dough, because we do a pizza night every week in the house, in our house. Or it's starting with French bread, which then gets used in, most of the time gets turned into French toast casserole. So it's not actually getting eaten as bread. So it's very forgiving, let's say. So I would do it, let's see. I guess I don't see the age of your son, your middle child, Callie, but I do that right about 6 or 7 years old. I give them a weekly job and teach them how to make something, and they're responsible for making it all by themselves. Obviously, there's other people around to help with sticking things in the oven and pulling them out and things like that. But yeah. Okay. Oh no, we've got tornado sirens going off. We're praying for you. Okay. Stay really safe. When we're taking a break with baby, it might be fun to have the admins do a Q&A too. Just thought the whole admin crew helpers has so much knowledge. That is a fun idea. We'll have to see if we can rope a couple people into that, because yeah, you guys, the people that I get to work with are so amazing. I'm so blessed to be able to work with people like Michelle and Rachel and Diane and Daryl. We've got such a phenomenal crew of people who are they know so much. I feel like I learn all the time. If I have questions about preserving things, I call up Michelle, and she and I sit and talk through, okay, a lot of times there's a lot of gray areas where the literature isn't real clear. And so she and I can talk through. A lot of you guys probably know, she's a master preserver. And so she has a lot of education behind her on the preserving side. So she and I will kick back and forth like, okay, what's the common sense? Why is this? What's going on here? How can we make sure something is safe while still being practical at the same time? And I'm so thankful to be able to work with all of the people. So yes, a Q&A with them would be phenomenal. That would be really, really neat. Can Josh do a class on processing a deer from start to finish? That would really help us a lot. He cannot at this time of year. We are done with hunting season. Although I do hear that we are supposed to get, my son just got an offer to come harvest an elk on a local farm where they have deprivation tags. So we may be bringing in an elk this Saturday, which is, our freezers are literally completely full. We have no more room for anything else going into the freezers. So we'll be completely canning an elk if we get that. We may do a little bit of freeze drying. Honestly, I'm not real crazy about freeze drying meat yet. Maybe I just haven't found the right application for it. It works. I am working right now. I am testing over and over again, freeze drying meatloaf, like a meatloaf mix with the raw meatloaf. So I can literally have a jar of a meatloaf sitting on the shelf with all the ingredients freeze dried and rehydrate it and then bake it like normal. So it's kind of fresh. And I'm working on that. And it's taking some different iterations of trying to figure out how to rehydrate it right. I have to adjust some of the ingredients still, but I'm getting there in hopes that I can share that with you. So maybe I'll play with some of that with the elk also, but I doubt that Josh will be set up to be able to do a full class on that then, but I will put it on the list. Unfortunately, at this time of year, you kind of start moving to next year to be able to do that. But I'm sure he could do that and he'd be very happy to. I could add a freeze dryer bonus challenge onto another challenge too, just as an option. Yeah, that might be a way to go. It's just getting to the point of the year where I have time to create a double challenge like that. But I do know that a lot of you guys are very interested in the freeze dryer part. Oh, wow. Kelly, I'm due in a week for my first home birth, fourth baby. Any tips? I'm nervous. Hold all your plans loosely. That is my big tip, is that be ready to adjust if you need to. I've had multiple home birth plans adjusted for me by weather and by different things. And I've been amazed how many people I have met that hold on to a lot of like frustration and bitterness because their plans didn't go according to plan. And I just go, when we're talking a birth, we need to be ready to be flexible. But aside from that, the biggest advice that I have is when you go into labor, choose to participate in it. And being this isn't your first baby, so I think you'll understand what I'm saying. It's easy to get, fourth baby was hard for me. You stop forgetting the pain of childbirth, especially if it's natural childbirth. I've had them all naturally. I've not had drugs for any of them. And there have been quite a few where I've questioned my own sanity in that and thinking, why? Why would I not get drugs? Drugs are good. Because you start remembering the pain. And so it can be easy to go into labor and kind of hide from the pain. And all that does is elongate the birth process and the labor process and create complications. So my best advice, be flexible and get into the process. Actually jump in and decide right at the beginning, okay, let's do this. Let's get this baby here. And be an active part of that and making that happen. So that's the best that I can tell you. That for me has been the most helpful for the pain management. And not being afraid to give direction in your space. If you want everybody to leave, tell them all to get out. Just for me, that's been hard. I'm so worried about being rude or making people feel badly. This is a moment where that's okay and everybody will forgive you. And you just need to protect your space the best you can. If you need it quiet, for me, the smells. If Josh wants to eat food, which he does, it's a long period of time. I understand he would normally eat food. I've had to ask him, will you please step outside with that? I just can't handle that smell right now. And that's okay. You can protect that because that will allow you to focus and to concentrate if you can push back on all the other distractions. And yeah. So good luck. That is so exciting. Please, when you feel ready, share a picture or something. That's really exciting. And we'll be praying that everything goes your way, the way you hope it will go, and everything's healthy and baby arrives quickly and easily and will be in your arms in any time soon. That's very soon. That's very exciting. Okay. Just looking, is the pizza dough recipe on the site? Yes, there is pizza dough recipe. If you go into the Art of Homemade Bread, there's a couple of different downloads in there with Homesteading Family's favorite yeasted and sourdough recipes, and I think there is a pizza recipe in each of those. Let's see. I'm just looking through. You guys got to have a lot of questions in here. I want to make sure I get them all. Let's see. Can I do Azure Standard grocery hauls? Oh. That would be fun, huh? I guess that you guys, sometimes for my family, that's literally $1,000 worth of food coming in from Azure Standard for all the bulk stuff. Now, granted, I'm feeding 13 people every meal. So, our grocery bill is a lot larger than most people's. So I'm afraid that would be totally, I guess it's not even overwhelming for you guys. It would be overwhelming to me to try to gather up all that stuff. I'll have to see. It would be fun. That's a good challenge for me. So I'm going to get it on the thought list for this year. But I like that idea. I think I could do that. We'll see. Anybody else who wants to do their Azure or bulk buying grocery hauls, capture it on video and send it in to us. We'll publish it in the membership also so that other people can see it. I know that's one of the negative things in this membership platform is you guys can't just easily post videos. I'm hoping that it looks like there might be some upgrade options coming this year to that we might be able to do that. Um, but for the time being, if you want to do a video and send it in, we will get it uploaded and we will put a link in there for people. So maybe we need to do a grocery haul. I don't want to say a challenge because I don't want it to be, it wouldn't be like comparable to a pantry challenge or a learning challenge that we do. But maybe it'd be fun to see what everybody is bringing in, because you're right. It is great to see what other people are filling their pantries with. It really does make you kind of go, oh, I think I would like that, or I didn't know they had that, or some of those different things. So that might be a lot of fun. Plus, you'd get to see what normal people, more normal size families buy, and not just ours. But yeah, this month, my Azure order was literally 3 cases of butter. And that was it, because I've been stocking up so well for the rest of the year. I was just like, I just really don't need anything. But we deprioritized butter making in our household this year because we have decided to refocus on lard instead, for practicality, for ease, for efficiency. And we've been putting the cream from the milk cow, we've been leaving it in the milk a little bit more and adding that into the cheese. And I don't know if I don't think I could show you. I think I'd have to get a different camera to show you guys. But the cheese cave is fairly full, which is really exciting because the cream in there has bulked it up. But that means that now that I have one of the family members is now responsible for learning sourdough and keeping us in the sourdough bread for dinner making, for all different things. We need a lot of butter, because that's the downside of sourdough. As soon as that loaf hits the table, we need a stick or two of butter on the table also to go along with it. So, okay, you guys, let's see. Last minute questions. It has been great hanging out with you guys. And yeah, I'm just looking for the last minute. Okay. You guys, it's been great hanging out this week. Next week, I think Josh and I are actually both coming on. We're just going to do a chit chat before we take a week off. We're taking quite a bit of time off, at least on the public side. There's about 2 weeks where it will be completely quiet from homesteading family, giving everybody a break, all the different team members, all the different moderate, everybody. Here in the membership, it's going to be quiet from us, but you guys just carry on and enjoy the conversation. Know that if you need anything from us, we will all be back in action at the beginning of the year. So I'm giving you a heads up. We'll be around for this week, definitely. But starting on the 22nd, I think the 22nd is the Friday. It might be the 23rd. I might be getting it mixed up. Starting on that day, we are all going to go hang out with our own family and friends and be a little bit quiet. So we will get back to you, though, if you have any questions. If you have any billing questions or anything like that, please let us know now, or we will make anything right. We'll fix anything when we get back. So we'll take good care of you when we get back, but it will be quiet. There won't be anybody in office, so you won't get any help on that side. And so the other thing is I don't know if you guys saw, but for this week, we have put up a special percentage off for you guys for if you want to buy a class for this week while we're in office. We can turn around, you can buy the class and we can turn it around and gift it to somebody for you. But you have to do it while we're in office. As soon as we leave, there's no automatic process for it to get gifted when you buy. And so that would be really frustrating for you. And I would hate for you to be stuck in that where it's like you bought something and you want to give it as a gift, but you can't because nobody's in office to change who it is. So if you're interested in that, I think you guys have I don't know, Robin's not here right now. Callie, can you tell me for sure how the 23rd, thanks, Callie, what the percentage is off if they're a gold member for the class? I want to say it's 50%. We wanted to get you guys the best deal we could so that you can gift to people. But Callie's probably looking it up. They're still working here. So anyways, just make sure you take care of that on the soon side for the gifting part of it. Otherwise, that part is going to, okay, 50% for gold members only. JJ's confirming the email said 50%. Good. Okay, good. I just didn't want to give a wrong number. Numbers don't stick in my head well, and I tend to, yeah. 45% for non-gold members. You guys are all gold members if you're here, so you're totally able to get that. That is just for the class. We don't really have a mechanism to do that for the membership because it's ongoing. That's for a single class. If you're interested in giving a membership, email us and see. But the class membership is forever. Yeah, once you own a class, you have it forever. So it's not like the recurring thing in the membership. So yes, if you're interested in giving a membership, just email us here in the next couple days and we'll see what options we have. That's been a little bit challenging to begin with. Robin, you're still here. Good. How's it going over there? You're still just holding your breath waiting. Oh my gosh, I'm so nervous for you. I'm probably not helping you feel a sense of peace and calm. So sorry. But okay, you guys, sounds good. I'm going to go film a video on fermented ketchup actually right now. So so I will see you guys later. Goodbye.